Hey guys, this is Hayes with CheatSheetPros.com, and today is Wednesday, June 12th, and I'm going to take a look at some of the plays that I had posted earlier and kind of walk you through them on the cheat sheet so you can get an idea of what we're looking at for tonight and why I like them. So as always, I typically start off here on the Bet tab. Let me make sure I get this lined up for you. I didn't have this prepped. Okay, so when I open up the cheat sheet, you can see we have all these fancy tabs down here. I like to go right to the betting board. This is where you're going to get a quick glimpse of everything. So over here, you're going to see the teams, Vegas, what their win percentage is, what ours is with our custom model. You're going to see pitcher stats. You're going to see a quick look of the hits and earned runs last five, a little bit more detail on their last three starts, and then just kind of how the team's doing overall, how many runs they're scoring per game over the last six. And then the bullpen, we custom rank it and we look at it over the last 14 days to get an idea of when this pitcher comes out of the game, do they have a strong bullpen, a weak bullpen, maybe look at a live bet if somebody has a bad bullpen, etc., etc. So flipping down through here, if you see something that's blank, either they don't have any player logs or we just don't have them pulled yet. I typically update these whenever I see a couple come through here. So flipping down through the first one, this Minnesota game, let's see, it's 12:47. That one's already started, so we'll skip over that one. So the first game that jumped out to me was San Diego versus Oakland. Now, this is a game that I want to look at and I want to dig into a little further. The one thing that jumps out is the earn run prop for Michael King is only 1.5, so that tells you they are expecting a really good game from them. They are at home, but the one thing that really jumps out, oh, you can't even see it, is right over here. So look at these teams. So Oakland right now is averaging 2 runs per game. They've scored 3, 1, 4, 0, 2, 0. And then San Diego, they didn't cover the run line for us last night, but they did get a win, so whoop-de-doo. But they're averaging 7.2 with 4, 6, 3, 13, and 10 runs. Here you can see neither bullpen is great, so I would stick with a first 5 on something like this. We want to dig into the game a little further, so just glancing at that, that's one that I want to take a look at. Vegas has a win percentage of 58. I have one of 63, so it's a 5% edge. And I got a little run line indicator that comes over here to where if I bet it, I don't want to lay a bunch of juice or parlay it with other games with a bunch of juice, so I'm going to go ahead and lay the run line. So let me make sure you can see this okay. So over here, as always, click in the home team. It's going to give you a drop down. You can flip through all these fancy games, but this is the one we're going to take a look at. So the last 10 games for Oakland, we can see here they've won 1 game in the last 5. They've lost 4 straight, including the last 2 against San Diego, so they're just not doing really well. Something new we added a couple weeks ago is this team breakdown, and I love this because I can see our custom power ranking for the team, what their record is over the last 10, but I like to see these rankings down here for what the batting average is, what their strikeout rate is, their WRC plus, and then home runs, RBI, and ISO. So you'll see that a lot in my write-up. So here you can see they've got the highest strikeout rate, the 3rd lowest batting average, and they're 25th in WRC plus at 74. So they're just not very good at all. And then you come over here to the Padres, and they're doing really good. They rank 3rd for us in our power rankings, even though they're only 4 and 6 over the last 10. We can see they had a streak here where they got beat by Kansas City. They dropped 3 to the Angels and struggled scoring runs, and they lost to Arizona, and then they kind of turned it around, kicked it in gear, and now they've won 4 of 5, so they're doing a little bit better. But what I like to see here is they're 1st in team batting average at 297. They've got the lowest strikeout rate over the last 2 weeks at 12.3%. Their WRC plus is a whopping 141, and then they're 6th, 5th, and 8th in home runs, RBIs, and ISO power. So San Diego, clearly a much better team. I also like that they're playing at home, and we can glance here and see if they're on an extended road trip, if they've been home for a while. So they've been home for a while. They have a run of home games, and they're still at home, so we like that. Looking at the bullpen, bullpens aren't good, 2 and 5, 2 and 4. Both ERAs, xFIPs up there, whips over 1.5, not good. So I would look at a first 5 bet here with Michael King. Looking at the teams, here, these are your last 14-day hitting stats, so you can see how the team is doing, averages, hits, runs, RBIs, totals, and then we've got all the other stats. And if these hit the top, I tried to look for like the top 20% of hitters, it's going to highlight up. So that's for runs, home runs, stolen bases, RBIs, so you can kind of see who's doing good. Oakland, they've got some guys with some hits, but not really scoring anything. But when you come down here at San Diego, you're going to see a lot more action. Look at all these guys with the hits. The 6 of the top 7 are in our highlighted column for hits. And then look at the RBIs. you've got a 5 and a 6 hitter. So if I'm playing DFS, I'm going to look right here and say, okay, this guy's 4,400, 4,200, and he's doing really well. So I'm going to look at stacking around those guys. Tatis, I think I saw he came out of the game yesterday. I don't know how much of an injury that was, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. You can also see their fantasy stats over here, what they've been doing, and stats versus pitcher hand. But anyways, let's get back. So Hogan Harris is decent. He only has 11 innings, but he's not bad. I don't have a knock on him. But Michael King is basically who I'm backing against Oakland, who is a bad team. Here we can see his stats, pretty solid. I want to make sure they have enough innings to make these stats mean anything. He's got 74.2 innings this year, so that's solid. 3.38 ERA and a 3.76 xFIP. So those are close enough. They're sub 4s, so I would say he is above average pitcher. K9 rate is solid, whip is solid, and he's allowing a 209 batting average. If you want to look at his splits here, there isn't anything that's huge that jumps out at me, but we've got him here, and some pitchers do have extreme splits. And then coming down here, the one thing I look at is the hits and earned runs allowed. Now, if a pitcher doesn't give up a lot of earned runs, like we see here, he's done really good with 0, 1, 1 over his last 3 starts. He had a 3, he had a 6 ball against Colorado, and then a 0 and a 0. Every pitcher's going to have a bad start. So out of this, 6 of his last 7 starts have been outstanding. I also want to look at his hits allowed, because if he gives up more than a hit an inning, but hasn't given up the earned runs, that usually means he's getting lucky and leaving a lot of people on base. So here his hits are solid. So an average is about 5.5 per start. So he's got 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, and then 6. So he's been really good. So we like Michael King, and we like the Padres in a first 5 line or a first 5 run line. And those are the things that jump out at me on that game. You see a couple power plays here that pop out. One of the other games I wanted to talk about, I think I posted 4. And where is the other one? It was a dog play. Oh, here it is. So down here. So Washington at 540. So this is a game that jumped out at me. You can see we've got a 6% edge on our model. So Vegas has Washington at a 48% percentage chance to win, and then we've got him at a 53. So we have him as a small favorite, and Vegas has him as a small dog. So I think it was plus 115 when I bet it this morning. So this is a game I would want to take a look at. I'm not saying if there's an advantage like this on every game, bet it, but look into it a little bit more. So there's 3 aspects of the game. There's your starting pitching, your bullpen, and then your bats. So consider your offense, your pitcher, and then your relievers. Those are the 3 parts we're going to look at. So looking at the starting pitching here, we have Reese Olson, who was hyped up a ton this season. I had him in a bunch of fantasy leagues, so I followed him really well. Well, he's 1-7 with a 3.43 ERA. Jake Irvin, who no one pretty much owned at the beginning of the year, he's 4-5 with a 3.12 ERA. So both of these pitchers are equivalent. There's nothing here that jumps out that would be a red flag to either one. Now, when we look at the earned runs over the last 5, what jumps out at me is Reese Olson had 0-1-0, but these last 2 starts, 8-5. So that's a big question mark there. And looking at Irvin, he's been pretty solid, 0-2, 0-2, and then had a 4 start. And then looking at the hits, I quickly glance over here. I see 4.2, 5.8 per game. The 5.8 should jump out at you. That's over that. If it's over 5, it's one I want to take a look at. And we see the 3.53, but his last 2 starts, 12-6. So he's had 2 bad starts in a row. So that should be a red flag for you. So this last start here, we get a quick glimpse. We see he went 4 innings, gave up 12 hits, so an average of 3 hits per inning, and then 8 earned runs versus Milwaukee. In the prior start, he went 5.1, 6 hits, 5 earned runs versus Boston. So that's a little bit alarming. So pitching side, I would lean over to Jake Irving, and we're going to dip into him a little bit more. Looking at the bullpens, they're both pretty close. Nothing to really separate them. Looking at the offensive hitting part, averaging 4.8, 3.8 runs. Washington's actually averaging a little bit more runs than Detroit. So this is a game we would want to dig into further. So this is what I noticed on the betting tab. So I'm going to go over here to the main, and I'm going to dig into this a little bit further. And then we are going to flip it up. Now, one of the things that jumps out at me right off bat is I always look at this. I want to see, like, are they home? Are they away? What are their last few games like? So Detroit is favored in this game, but they've lost 3 of 4. They lost 9-1, 10-0, 5-4, and 5-4. So you come over here, and Washington, they've actually won 4 games in a row. They won 3 out of 4 against Atlanta, 2-1, 7-3, 8-5, and 5-4 against Detroit. So they're putting up some runs. They're doing really well. So I would give an edge over here to Washington right now. And then we're going to look at the team breakdown the last 14 days, look at our power rankings. We have 26 and 25. Okay, so neither team is really good. So pretty much call that a wash. But Washington's been able to get a few more runs on the board, so I would give them a slight edge there. And then we're going to look at more details of the pitchers, and we're going to look at the bullpens. Both bullpens are about the same, so not a lot of difference there. When I glance at the Washington hitters, nothing amazing. Got one guy, Lane Thomas, doing really well. Winker's hitting 326 over the last 2 weeks. Come down here, Detroit's got a couple of guys, Riley Green and Ursula, that are batting really well, so nothing really great either way. So Reese Olson, let's take a look at him. So Reese Olson, these last 2 starts, he's combined for 9.1 innings. He's given up 18 hits and 13 earned runs. So that is a red flag. One start was on the road, the other start was at home. So is something wrong? Is he getting some dead arm? We don't know, but that's a pitcher that I want to go after and attack, especially with those last 2 starts. That team should not be favored right now. Then you come over here, we're going to look at Jake Irvin. And Jake Irvin, he's been pretty solid. 0-2, 0-2, 0-2. So averages about a run a start, sometimes 2. His hits are solid. 4-5, pretty average. Had a 2-hitter here against Atlanta on the road. Had 1 bad start against Philadelphia on the road. And then 4 hits, 2 runs, 5 hits, no runs. He's been really good, so this is impressive. I'm also going to glance down here at their walks and make sure they're not walking 3 hitters a game. But 2-1, 2-0, 1-0, that's pretty average. Nothing really jumps out at me there. And then you're going to come over here and look at his stats. They've been really solid. 75 innings, ERA just over 3, xFIP 3.5, a whip of 1.03, and then averaging a 223 average. That's pretty good. Now, Detroit's at home, Washington's on the road, so if we got the team we like, let's always look at their splits, see where they're at. So here we're going to look at Jake Irvin on the road. He has 47 road innings, so he has 19 more innings on the road than he does at home. His ERA is good, drops from a solid 3.86 to 2.68. xFIP's about 3/4 of a run smaller. Has a much better WOBA. K9 climbs just a tiny bit. Significant difference in his whip. Almost 1.3 at home. League average is about 1.25, but on the road, 0.87. That's microscopic. I really like that. And then the batting average allowed, if you don't want to get into learning these other stats like whip and WOBA and xFIP, everybody understands batting average. That's a simple one. So he's allowing a 223 batting average. At home, it's 270. On the road, it's only 192. So he does really good on the road. We like that. I'm also going to glance and see if he's played this team anytime recently. He hasn't. So we like Washington as plus 115. We can win that less than 50% of the time and make it a profitable bet. So those are 2 of the 4 plays that I like today, and that's why. Good luck, guys.